evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to welcome you to today's session hosted by Atulit Academy, and we truly appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. So, a brief about Atulit. Atulit Academy was founded by Radhika Kautha, a renowned learning designer and corporate trainer. Her vision for the academy is built on the pillars of clarity, ownership, and workplace excellence. She works closely with both trainers and organizations to equip professionals with the tools they need to tackle real world challenges with confidence. So, today's webinar, When Your Child Says Hurtful Things, has been designed to be highly practical. And to ensure a smooth experience, please keep a few quick points in mind. Please ensure your microphone's muted to for the best sound quality for everyone. We invite you to use the chat frequently for your thoughts and questions and make sure to stay with us until the very end. So, to take us into the heart of today's session, please join me in welcoming our facilitators. I am pleased to introduce Radhika Kautha ma'am. As a parenting coach, ma'am understands how deeply it can sting when your child says something hurtful. Today, she is here to help us look past the initial shock and break the myths surrounding these difficult moments, helping parents understand what is really beneath the surface. Next, we have Divya ma'am. She is an experienced corporate trainer and communication coach, passionate about enhancing workplace communication and professional development. She has a unique ability to translate complex concepts into practical, people focused learning experiences. Lastly, we have Dipali ma'am with us. She is someone who loves learning and exploring new ideas. She enjoys simplifying concepts into communication as well as in chemistry and everyday life. She's been actively working as a communication and soft skills trainer from the last 10 years. So, before I move on and I hand it over to our experts, no one prepares you for this part of parenting. Not the sleepless nights, not the school stress, but the moment your child looks at you and says something that hits you personally. I hate you. You're the worst parent. Just leave me alone. And suddenly, it's not just parenting anymore. It feels personal. No parenting book prepares you the first time your child says something that hits you and hurts you personally. This is not about perfect parenting. This is about not damaging the relationship in heated moments. Today is not about fixing your child. It's about handling your response in moments that can either build trust or quietly break it. There are no perfect parents in this room, just honest ones. So let's start by understanding what's really happening in that moment. So I hand it over to Dipali ma'am now.
A very good evening to everyone and a warm welcome. So glad that you all joined us for the session today. It's a humble request if all of us could switch on our cameras so that we could see each other and talk to each other. So, before we actually delve into today's session, I have a small quiz for all of us. I want all of you all to participate in it. I'll be asking you 7 words and I've named it Gen Z quiz. And since I am a parent, I'll be a little partial towards us. So the scoring would be a collective scoring. Like out of 7, if 7 parents give 7 answers, correct answers, we get 7 on 7, right? So I'll be a partial parent. So those of you who know the answer, just unmute yourself and give me the answer, please. So the first word on the list is delulu. Delulu. Anyone, please unmute
Delusions.
yourself. Delu-
Delusions.
Delusion, exactly like what? Gayatri, thank you for your response.
So anything like they have this thing that you are living in a delusion, and you just, they use it so frequently, everything,
Yes.
where
Yes.
for them it's like I am living a happy life because I am in a delulu, kind of is like their
Wow.
statement.
Right, right, Gayatri, that's absolutely right. It's an unrealistic belief basically. So parents, we get 1 on 7. The second one I think is comparatively easier, and that's vibe. VIB vibe. Anybody for
The
that?
energy or how you feel with each other, how you, I mean,
Perfect,
connect
perfect,
with each
perfect.
other.
So perfect. So Gayatri is the scorer for the parents. Hats off, Gayatri. Great. The next word is cap. Till now, we knew two meanings of cap. One, we wore it on our heads, and the other one was when we used to have a cap on something, cap on a diet or something. But Gen Z has a different meaning to it. Anyone, what is the meaning of cap?
uh, is it, I don't know, I think it is something like, fake or uh, exaggerated thing that you're talking about, or something of that sort. Is that it? Because that is one
Oh,
context I've heard in, but I don't know.
oh, yes, you are quite true. It's a lie or something untrue.
Okay.
Gayatri, how do you know so many words? That's absolutely great.
Possibly working with them.
Great, great, great. That's right. The next one is Riz.
Hmm.
Anybody else other than Gayatri? Riz, R-I-Z-Z, Riz.
I know that, but I want others to answer
Yeah, I think if nobody does, I'll answer again.
Okay.
because this is something which my teens use a lot.
Okay, great. The benefits of working with the Gen Zs. Anyone? So Gayatri, you can again answer. So
Is it
Gayatri is the one who's
aura
got
or something related to how you see a person's charm
perfect.
or
It's
not?
basically charm or ability,
Charm.
right? So we get 4 on 4. All thanks to Gayatri. And what is the meaning of cooked? This is something which we know. Cooked.
That I am today
Okay. Anybody
after a very
else
long
other
day.
than okay, you're cooked today?
Cooked means exhausted or burnout.
Completely
Perfect.
Like
finished.
that.
Perfect. Perfect, Smita. Perfect, Sujata. And we it basically means to be in trouble, in exhausted. That is cooked. So I didn't study well, I'm cooked for exam. That is what the Gen Z says. The next one is also simple. That is sus.
That's easy.
Sussy, suspicious.
Yes, Rahila, definitely. That is suspicious. Great. We are absolutely brilliant parents out here, undoubtedly. So we get 6 on 6. And the next one is touch grass. Anybody for touch grass?
Grab the opportunity.
Yes. But basically, touch grass is to take a kind of a break. Like you've been gaming for 1 hour, go touch grass. And I'll tell you what, when I read it for the first time, I thought it has something to do with yoga. Anyways, so it is something kind of a taking break.
So I think it is opposite of delulu, if I'm not wrong. Like
It's with the
getting,
break also. They want to break, taking breaks.
It's basically to just take a break from your screen or probably doing something that ways, right? So then there is another one called as understood the assignment. So that is something which you could find it for yourself, right? So as parents, we've scored really well. And I think we got 6 on 7, which is a great score. That is, we really understand our children well, but let us see where we are lacking.
so Dipali, can we say we understood the assignment?
Yes, you did the assignment really well. So Gayatri knows the meaning of understood the assignment also. That's great. So for the Gen Z, if something is a lie, we call it cap. If something feels suspicious, it's sus. If someone is overthinking unrealistically, they are de lulu. And if the situation is completely out of control, we are just cooked. But jokes apart, like in the beginning, when Insia said that when children say that I hate you, you are the worst parent, these words no longer sound like a slang. They feel too personal, they hurt us, isn't it? We feel bad if we come across these kinds of words acc- hurled to us by our children. Just picture a situation. The table has been laid. The family is waiting for their child to come and join them for the dinner table. And the child is in the most dreaded of all classes. And what is that? Any guesses? Yes, Divya, which class?
Standard 10th.
Okay. Okay. So a more dreaded class. What is that? A little bit more dreaded.
12th standard.
Yes, class 12th. So this is about Rohan, who is in class 12th, and the entire family is waiting for him, right? And Rohan, after some time, joins the family on the dinner table. And after a couple of minutes, mom starts. Rohan, she's talking in a very calm and a composed tone. Rohan, I know you're studying really hard, but it's such a crucial year. You need to work harder. Now, the answer which comes reminded me of the famous Dhurandhar dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, you are still not ready for this. This is what happened. Suddenly, mom was taken aback because Rohan just burst out shouting. How is it that every time you look at my face, you remember books, you remember studies? Don't you have anything else to talk to me about? I am fed up. Immediately, the vibe of the place changes and it turns to a tense atmosphere. As parents, I just want to ask you, if this is the kind of a reaction your child gives to you, how do you feel? Would you feel hurt? Would you feel angered? Or would you feel disrespected? Anyone, please? How would you feel?
Dipali, Miss, may I?
Yeah, please. Please, Vishaka. Thank you.
Yeah. So I feel, yes, it will come as a shock if it's the first time. But
Right.
then as parents, I'm talking about parents. I'm not talking as a principal right now. But as a
Okay.
parent, we know our child. So we
Right,
need
right.
to also understand that there is something which is stressful. There is something which is not a dining table talk because we're talking about meals.
Right,
This may not be a dining table talk,
right,
right?
right.
So
Perfect,
we need
perfect.
to handle and tackle it that way.
Wonderful.
If it
That
is-
is wonderful.
Yeah. So see, we know our child. That's the most important thing. In school,
Right.
we don't know all the children, the background and everything. But
Right.
here, because we're talking as parents, we know them. So we know that, yes, the child has a tendency and is already bugged a lot by the society, by the environment, by the family, extended family. And it's not the right time to be talking about studies because it's dinner. Let the child relax and then possibly sit across and talk.
That's Vishaka, a very mature and a well thought of answer. That is what should be done. But do you think that normally the parents they do react in such such a composed manner? Generally,
We are
the
talking
tempo.
of standard 12. So the
Yes,
parents are expected to be mature.
yes,
We are
they
not
are
talking of
expected to be
standard,
mature.
yeah. We are
Right,
not talking
right.
of standard primaries, or we're not talking of middle schools. We're talking of parents who are maybe in their 40s, late 40s or
Right,
45
right,
plus.
right, right. But I have seen parents in their 50s also losing their temper at a drop of a hat.
Yeah,
So
so
the
those may
yeah,
be those cases, yes.
yes,
Yes, every parent is different, every parenting is different. But yes,
perfect.
I don't think dining table talk is supposed to be an academic talk.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Vishaka. That was such a nice response. Lovely.
Thank
And
you.
also here, I see Gayatri has risen her hand. Yes, Gayatri.
So I agree with Vishakha, but
Right.
what she said. But as you very rightly said, I have seen a lot of parents reacting rather than responding to
Perfect.
situations.
Perfect. Perfect.
And
Perfect.
what I feel is it also comes from their mental state at that point in time.
Right.
If they are cooked through the day, they also react. So that is what I have seen. If you ask me as a parent, a couple of years back, when my daughter was very early years or so, I would have reacted, possibly, hurt or something. But over a
Right.
period of time, come to a realization that possibly, continuously asking them only about their studies or what they are doing or what they want to be is not the right way. They need something else from you as a parent. And that
Exactly.
understanding needs to come in. So, what I have started doing is the moment we come home in the evening, we have 20 minutes where we discuss about studies. Okay, what is this? What is this? What is this? Now is the homework time, finish it. That is the only time we talk about homework. Apart from that, we don't talk about it because children are there in school for a very long time these days.
Oh,
They have so many things to do. But if I have to say in general, parenting, in many cases, even today, there are a lot of parents who do react. And, oh, you don't respect us. It's an important year. And
Yes.
the very famous dialogue, we did this when we were your age.
Right. Perfectly
Even
said,
now.
Gayatri. Yes.
That is the thing. Fortunately, as we are becoming more aware of parenting techniques, people are getting more aware of it,
Right.
understanding the empathy and the SEL part of it.
Right.
But it's still a long way to go, is what I feel as a parent and as an educator.
Perfect, Gayatri. Thank you so much. Thank you for your response. It's so aptly stated. Lovely. I also see Radhika raise her hand. Radhika, what do you have to add to this?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
you
So
are.
the thing is, I have a question for, um, Vishakha, Gayatri, and Dipali.
Right.
When we approached with these kind of solutions to parents, there were two things that cropped up. One, the father who was saying that I don't get a chance to talk to them. I'm talking about the 10th, 11th, 12th category. Okay.
Right.
Wherein they are saying, I don't have a chance to talk to the children any other time other than the dinner table. This is the scenario that is very common in families.
Right.
That is the only time I get to talk with them. Okay.
Right.
That is one thing which the parents kept on saying again and again and again, wherein the mom was saying that many mothers were saying that it so happens that yes, we do not want to broach that topic at the table, but then beyond that they don't seem to communicate with us.
So rightly said, Radhika, that you're absolutely right. Because, there are so many engagements children have these days other than going to school. The biggest engagement is the screen. Yeah, I think Vishakha wants to respond to it. Yes, Vishakha, please.
Yeah, so I was wanting to say that here we need to understand again two things. See, when you treat your children, I'm talking about a 12th grader dining table situation, what Radhika just
Right.
mentioned. You have to treat your children equally as adults. And you have to share with them. I have a
Right.
daughter who's 28.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I have to tell her, but this is the situation, which is why I want to discuss this over the dining table with you. Why can't I make sense with the children? Why do I treat them as children per se?
Right.
If I tell the child, you see, I'm keeping so busy, but there are certain things which are, keeping me a little worried about you, and I need to discuss them. And the only
Right.
time I have is the dining table. Can we have a talk? What is the problem in asking? But as parents, we assert ourselves and say, no, it's my right and I will.
Yes. We nag them too much. That
Yes.
is what I feel.
Exactly. Why
We
can't
nag them
we
too
seek
much.
an
Yes.
appointment rather than give an appointment to our child?
Yes. That is such a relevant point.
So
But
that's what
when
I
children get
Yes,
yeah, please, Radhika.
no,
Yeah,
please
Radhika,
continue,
please.
Vishaka.
Okay.
So I have done it and I have seen it work. It works.
Okay.
So you treat your child as an equal, as an adult, and say, okay, I want to talk to you. Are you free? And you see, I am not. Can we talk at the dining table? I think that
Yes.
makes better sense with the children because they are felt and given the feeling of being adults and equal and decision makers. They are not given the right to be decision makers, and which is a problem.
Right. Right. And sadly enough, we treat our children as those tiny tots, you know, we just
Babies.
remember that, you know, the children who are dependent on us, isn't it? I
And
think
the moment we start comparing with our childhood, that irks them. हमने 50 पैसे किलो और 50 पैसे की चीजें देखी तो हम बच्चों को बोलते हैं अरे, and they say what? That's not our world.
yes.
So
There are
don't
those
tell me
memes
stories.
also, no, Vishakha, wherein, you know, the parents are going over mountains, over rivers
हाँ.
for
अरे
a school or
नदी
college.
पार करके गए and the child has to say आपके पूरा कहाँ कौन से गांव में कौन से जंगल में रहते थे कि स्कूल ही नहीं था.
हाँ. And so
5
there are
किलोमीटर चलते थे,
these
फिर
jokes
नदी
going
पार
on
करते
that
थे
why
और
do
सब
you,
पैदल गए हैं.
I know. But whenever, suppose this kind of a situation happens with us, you know, like the one I was speaking about, the minute children say something to us as parents, we take it to our ego. Don't you feel that?
Yes,
We feel that our authority is being questioned.
Again, ego why? Because मैं बड़ा हूँ तुम छोटे हो.
Right. And, you know, we feel that we are the authority and we are to be listened, you know, that is what we feel.
Right.
And do you also feel that sometimes, okay, Gayatri, I'll just read out first what Gayatri has written. I also feel the practices and communications we have form at young age also play a part, being not around in early years and suddenly being into everything. Yes. We want to be available, as Vishakha so rightly said, that we have to be available according to the need of the child. But we are available according to our availability. I think it is a dichotomy which we need to work upon.
You can always give them an option wherein, you know, if there is something to discuss, something which you know, I mean, that they won't like at all. As a parent, you know
Right.
when your child
Right.
will like a conversation and when they won't. So
Yes.
my thing is, what I do personally is I just tell them per se that, you know, this is the topic. I never raise the topic at the dining table. First of all, I just tell them
Right.
that, you know, I need to talk to you about this particular topic, and like Vishaka said, and I'm like, give me a time. You mentally prepare yourself or whatever. Just let's have a mutual time and discuss. So they are also prepared to, you know. But then I also give them this sentence wherein, you know, I just say that it's non-negotiable. You have to speak.
Right.
You tell me when we need to speak.
Perfect. By doing so, we are giving a choice to the child. Yeah, Vishakha, you need to speak something?
No, I've just left the hand raised. I'll just lower it.
Okay, no issues. Okay, and do you feel that when children they hurl these hurtful things at us, do you feel that societal conditioning also plays a havoc? What I mean to say is that we have been conditioned that a good child is supposed to talk like this. Good child is not supposed to answer back. The children can't look into the eye. Do you feel this is a big, this really hampers the way we can actually have a relationship with our children? Do you feel that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. The societal the upbringing is such that, okay, how can you shout at your parents? Even if they are wrong, they have to be right, and all these kinds of things. So just coming back to Rohan's story, there was an outburst on the dinner table which happened. But what Rohan was undergoing, what he was thinking about, this nobody knew. So as I told you, he was a 12th grader and he was struggling with his physics problems for last couple of days. The school hadn't been very pleasant today. And the child was confused as to where am I going to understand these physics problems? He's going to a tuition. He's not happy there also. And then suddenly comes study. And then he uses the word, I am fed up. Right? So it was an emotional outburst. So what do you think? Did Rohan actually mean it, or it was just an emotional outburst? What do you think as parents?
Emotional outburst.
Yes, Rahila, absolutely. Thank you. It was just an emotional outburst. So when children, they say these hurtful things to us, they probably don't even mean it. It is simply, they are just letting their emotions out. And you know, there have been studies which show that a child is not fully mature till mid-20s to form the words and then speak. Sometimes it is just a way to vent out their emotions. They don't mean to hurt you in any way. I'll just take you back to our teenage days. I had this habit. I don't know how many of you would agree on this or how many of you have experienced this. If you have, please give me a thumbs up for this. So, when I was a teenager, some 100 years ago, so what basically happened was whenever I heard certain difficult words, I used to use it wherever and whenever I could because I thought that if I use fancy words, my English would look excellent. Has any one of you done this? Rahila, Divya, every Asha, you've done, everybody has done that at one point of time. So this happens with our children also. So sometimes whatever they are saying, they are just borrowed words, borrowed expressions. They've heard it at some point of time. Maybe they've heard it in their school, maybe they've heard it in their family, the peers are using, and then they're simply throwing it at you, simply throwing it at you. So every time a child says, like Insia mentioned in the beginning, every time the child says, I hate you, it doesn't literally mean I hate you. It may mean something else. It may mean that I feel that I'm not being understood. It could be that. So the whatever children say, the thing hasn't to be taken literally by us. But there is a dichotomy out here. We're talking to a 10-year-old. The conversation starts at 2 decibels and suddenly it reaches 10 decibels. So we are actually competing with that 10-year-old. This is what actually happens. So one thing which I would want all of us to understand, those of us who have children who are at a formative age, just feel that whenever they are saying hurtful words, they are just the borrowed loudest words. They don't mean that. So this is something which we actually have to understand. So they're not trying to disrespect you in any way. It is a kind of a dysregulation. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Vishaka.
So I would just like to add on.
Yes, please.
Borrowed words, but we need to understand the emotions behind those borrowed words.
Perfect.
They are heard somewhere. They are heard somewhere. They want to be heard. Maybe the words used are a few decibels high, as you said,
Right.
a few notches deep and hurtful. But then, yes, they need to vent. They are wanting to vent out, and maybe they feel this way by using a hurtful word, which falls on their parents' ears. It doesn't just fall on the eardrum; it goes inside.
Perfect. Perfect. So this is the next part of the presentation which I was coming to. Thank you, Vishaka, so much. Gayatri, I think you have to say something. I saw your hand risen.
No, so yeah, the age group, the early formative years, because I have daughters in that age group.
Right.
So I have seen that happening a lot, like, where it starts with something and then they are in a different mood. Sometimes I'm in a different mood. The decibels go up and down on both sides is what I feel at times. But I think at the end of the day, how you manage them and make sure, one of the things that, as parents, what we forget is also to be kind to ourselves.
Exactly. We are very harsh on
we
ourselves.
respond,
Very
we
rightly
react
said.
at times, and then we start the blame game, the questions that what am I, what am I doing? And so I think we need to be kind to ourselves also. So over the years, we have come to a point where, if they're crying, or if, as Radhika said, that, hey, give me a time, I want to talk about it. So something similar, even with my 5-year-old, I do the same thing that, hey, you know what, this is what we have to talk. She says no. I said, but I want to talk. Whenever you are ready, come to me. There might be crying, there might be tantrums, there is anything. So if there is a crying happening, we have a thing where, okay, take your time, finish your crying,
And
let
then
me
we
know
talk.
once you're done.
Right.
And then you don't respond at all. You don't respond, you don't react, you don't ask questions, you just do your work. It takes really less minutes for them to come back and, hey, okay, now tell me what you want to talk.
Right.
So I think, as you very rightly said, in the formative years, the decibels go very high up and down. But I think it is what they imitate, the parents also.
Right. Very relevant
so
point.
That's something that we have to be mindful of what we say, the borrowed words also, where they are borrowing from. I think that is also a key to look at.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you so much, Gayatri. And it is very strange that, our decibels are directly proportional to the decibel of the children. The louder they shout, the louder we shout. That is something not very, should not be done. Yes, Vishakha.
Sorry, I think I'm doing a lot of talking, but then
No, please. We are learning so much. That is so nice of you.
This is a conversation, Vishakha. This is not a webinar.
Right. Exactly.
all right.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is one more thing. This is what I've observed, and the workplace has taught me that children are a reflection of the parents, even the younger ones. Believe me, if they see that the mother and father get it across to each other by raising their voices, if they see that atmosphere at home, that using hurtful words, draws attention, or there is an argument and only then people are heard, they adapt it.
Right.
So, like, for example, we were talking about mobiles. A newborn child does not know what a mobile is and how to
Mobile
operate.
is.
We as mothers give it to the bacha, isko dekho aur fatafat khana finish karo. My task is over. So who
Right.
has addicted the child to the mobile? It's not the child. We blame the child, but we have addicted the child to the mobile कि भाई खाना चुपचाप जल्दी से गले से नीचे जाएगा.
Exactly.
That is not how it has to be. So we are directly influencing our children and we are not knowing about it.
Exactly. You're very right. You're very right. And then when the things they get out of control, then we feel that the things are getting hurtful.
Absolutely.
Rest of any, please.
If you see such families, you would find that the husband is raising the voice with the wife, or the wife is raising voice with the husband, or if it's a joint family, voices are being raised to put the point across.
Right.
The
Exactly.
child understood that I have to raise my voice or I have to say something loud to be heard or understood or being attended to.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Thank you for that input, Vishakha. That's the truth. And any one of us, any one of the audience, anyone else would want to contribute out here, please. We would love to hear from everybody. Okay. And one more thing which we have to, as parents, we have to keep in mind is that when children are actually having an emotional outburst in front of their parents, they are doing so because we are their safe space. They feel that we are the ones with whom they can take liberty. So we actually have to wait for the right time, as you people have suggested, for the conversation to strike. And I'll just say something which is a little uncomfortable for us as parents to accept, Hey. So it is very difficult. It is a little uncomfortable for us to accept something as parents. We are under stress. We have our own insecurities. We have our unfulfilled ambitions, which we want to just transfer the burden from our shoulders to the shoulder of our children. And we just fail to respond. We usually we react. So I just want all of us to remember one thing, that when a child is saying something hurtful to you, the child may not mean it. It is not planned. The child is doing so because of an emotional overflow or because of the limited vocabulary the child has. As parents, we are mature enough to understand this and look to the child from this angle. So then there is this three-layer listening tool, which I just want to share with you. So I've called this tool NEW, N-E-W, NEW, right? But I'm going to start from W. So it will be W-E-N. Okay. So from Rohan's story, what is something which is still there in your mind? Which particular phrase is still there in your mind? Anyone could unmute yourself and tell me, please. What do you think must be haunting the mother the most? What Rohan told her.
Fed up.
Sorry?
I'm fed up.
Sheila says, I'm fed up. Yes, Sheila. It would definitely be there on her mind. I'm fed up. Had I been the mother, this would have really haunted me. So I just want to talk about the three-layer listening model. So the first layer is the words. W for words. Right? So we pay attention towards the words. All of us, we know what an iceberg is. A big mountain of ice where a very small part of it is above the water and rest of it is submerged inside water. Anybody, what percentage of iceberg is above water? Anybody could tell me, please?
10%.
10%. Vishakha, wow, that is 10%. You know, Vishakha, the first time I took a guess, I said 25%. But 10% is absolutely right. It's absolutely right. So 10% of the iceberg is outside water and rest of it is submerged. So words are maybe even less than 10%. And words is something on which we react. We don't go to the next layers. The next layers is emotion. What the child is undergoing. For instance, Rohan said, I'm fed up. What is the emotion behind this statement of his? It could be insecurity, it could be anxiety, it could be too much of a pressure, it could be anything. So that is emotion. So we have to, when the child is saying something to us, we have to listen it in 3 layers. First is the words. Second is the emotion. We have to look for the emotion behind it. And the third one is need. Why is the child behaving in the manner the child is behaving? Maybe the child is unheard. Maybe the child is only heard, as I think Gayatri pointed, or Vishakha pointed, I think, that some children feel that when we shout on top of our voices, that is the only time we'll be heard. Maybe that is, you have to understand the need. Maybe the child just wants to sit with you silently. Maybe he wants a small hug from you. Or maybe he just wants to be there around you. That's it. So this is a 3-layer listening model which we have to adapt. First, words, emotion, and need. Otherwise, we all know that if we don't take care of the 90% of the iceberg, which is under the water, it caused the mighty Titanic to sink. That invisible part of the iceberg, which was underwater. So after the words, emotion and need is something which all of us as parents have to understand. So when a child says, you never understand me, thank you so much for your responses. So when a child says that you never understand me, so this is the tip of the iceberg. What could be the emotion behind it? Anybody else, please? What could be the emotion behind it? You never understand me.
Lack of attention.
Lack of?
Attention and
Perfect.
listening.
Yes, it could be lack of attention. Yes, Pratha, it could be it, right?
I think he wants to be heard.
Okay, Dipanchi says he wants to be heard, right? So basically the emotion could be frustration. It could be frustration. And the need could be that the child wants to be heard. He just wants a patient ear.
It could also be burnout.
It could be burnout also. Yes, of course it could be burnout. So burnout is something
or
which we hold.
Peer pressure also. Something around the peer pressure. It could be actually anything for that matter.
Perfect. And burnout is something to which we can attribute everything. Like we say that we are stressed because we are burnt out, right? Yes, Radhika?
So currently, I feel that it is peer pressure. That is like
peer pressure. It has a big role to play.
Ruling the rooster currently. Because,
right.
you know, everywhere they are comparing themselves to the children around them, to the people around them. And unfortunately, they are in a very exposed world.
Perfect.
You know, right from a very, very young age. So at a point, it is becoming completely overwhelming. And that is the reason they don't know. See, when you are given 5 options, it is easier to choose. But when you're given 500 options, you're overwhelmed and you don't know what to do.
Perfect.
So it is peer pressure, my point of view.
And yes, and Radhika, you've raised such a relevant point. See, initially when we were young, we were children, we are still young. When we were children, what happened was we just knew a couple of families around us, or maybe we just knew the people who lived around us. But today, thanks to social media, we come to know what is happening in all parts of the world, and there is a constant comparison. And as you said, there is a constant peer pressure. So peer pressure is not direct peer pressure, which was there in our times. The peer pressure could be from any part of the world, where the children are seeing that people are doing this, people are doing that. So yes, peer pressure has a big role to play. Yes. So basically, if we respond to words, we are definitely going to escalate a situation. So a good idea is to respond to an emotion, because when we respond to an emotion, that is how we connect. And any relationship, believe me, starts, continues with connect. But is mere understanding enough? That now I know the new model, now I understood my child, I know the words, I know the emotion, I know the need. Is that enough? No. Just by thinking that, no, I understand now, the child is saying hurtful things. Okay, I know that there are certain emotions behind it. So we can't leave it here, is it? We also have to address the issue. We have to talk. We have to say something to the children. So what can we say to the children? Divya is going to put light on it. So over to you, Divya.
Thank you, Deepali.
Shivaka just raised a hand. She might want to speak something. Sorry for interrupting you.
Who raised the hand?
Vishaka.
I couldn't see. Yeah, Vishaka, please.
Yeah, so I was just hearing the opinion of the other speakers, and then Radhika was mentioning about the peer pressure. Again, it's a point of view that I need to put across. It may just not be peer pressure. Surroundings, as you said, today is considered a part of peer pressure. It may be a personal pressure, because when we see others performing better and I am not able to give that output, and I'm in a board class, what would others think? May not be peer pressure that is directly coming on to me, or it may be even the teachers. At times, I have heard and seen teachers who directly tell the child, "तुम कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो, क्या number लाओगे?"
Right.
Right. So we do not know what the child has undergone in school, in the bus. What are his own created problems in his world, where he feels I am not able to, and if I tell my parents, they'll be stressed. If I tell, they're already spending so much on school, on tuition, and still I'm not able to. Still my problem persists, and he's stuck in that cobweb of his own thoughts.
Yes.
So we can't, again, it's a diversion from the ideas, but then that's my opinion. It may not be 70% peer pressure or 100% peer pressure. It may be his own stress, which is created by his own thoughts, because he's not able to cope up with that subject, with that topic, or with that situation, or that clusters that he has not done well today.
Right. So basically, it's a mixture of all.
Mixture of all, or maybe an untoward situation that has happened. The child wants to discuss, but then because he sees the situation at home is more like demanding rather than understanding, he keeps mum, but then he's irritated. He's already irritated because he's wanting a listening ear, which he's not getting. He's getting a commanding ear.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. That is such a nice phrase. Not a listening ear, but a commanding ear. That is so aptly put.
No,
because
it is because see what do you call Vishaka was saying. What do you call when I said I by the way, Vishaka, when I said peer pressure, I said it was ruling the rooster. That is not the only reason. But I'm just connecting my laptop. Excuse me. Yes, but I have to agree with what Vishaka is saying, because though prima facie it when I say peer pressure, again I am talking about 10th 11th 12th year and beyond also, actually, because when in our next what do you call bold conversation that is coming up with colleges, we are dealing with LinkedIn, what do you call making them depressed, so veering back to this topic, yes, definitely when it comes to what do you call till grade maybe 9th, I mean till 12th also maybe, what Vishaka was saying, yes, you do have n number of other factors which are, well, making them behave the way they are.
Right. Yes.
So
Gayatri.
I would like to add that, as you very rightly said, the statement that we did, that the children burst out in front of you because they feel safe. The age group that we are talking about, the 10th or 12th graders, is somewhere that expectation, hey, you need to understand and now you're big. So that then maybe also the emotion would be possibly the lack of the feeling of belonging, where
Yes.
bringing out the expectations of being the bigger child now or a grown up child is actually not letting them be the child that they are. Because yes, we also talk about that, hey, 10th and 12th, so they are mature and things like that. But what we lack to understand, or I would say, is the hormonal changes, the puberty, and all of those hitting along with, which are also missing. So the lack of belonging might be a very bigger emotion, and those are the feelings that I actually at times, and not as a parent, just as a parent, but also as a counselor, I see that in a lot of children who come through, that, hey, you know what, I have to be mature all the time because it is expected of me, as you very rightly said, Dipali, at the beginning, social grooming,
Right.
that, hey, now you behave this way, now you're a bigger child. Because if they burst out, then now you're a big grown up, now behave like that. But at the same time, you're still small, you have to listen to me. So
Right.
that conflict and that lack of belonging is many a times the emotion that comes through at that age group, especially when it again comes into pressure, because they want to talk about 10 different things, but at the end of the day, the only conversations that happen are, okay, so how much are you into the syllabus, what are you thinking of your career, or what are the things, or how much did your friends score, or how much did this happen. All of those questions come into play.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The
That's
person most enjoying this conversation is Insia currently. Yes, please do go on.
I think she's pretty young, and would she use that with her parents? Insia?
Yes, sorry, ma'am, I could not get your question.
I said, I do not know your age, but pretty young. Please don't try it with your parents.
Of course not, ma'am.
So that's Insia would be taking this advice. She would be using all these with her parents, right? So basically, I think it is for the parents and it is for children. Both of us, we do have to take a lead, and parents, of course, have to be the leaders. Basically, they have to take a lead. And as Vishakha rightly said, that we don't have to give them an appointment; we have to take an appointment. So I think that's really lovely. Over to you, Divya.
Thank you, Deepali. I think we have a very lovely audience, and it was really nice to listen to all the conversation that was happening. So
Yes,
I have
absolutely.
a
It was
11-year
an
daughter.
absolute delight.
Right. I have a 11-year daughter. And when Gayatri mentioned the hormonal change, puberty hitting, it was something which I couldn't resonate so well. For me, Deepali, when you said the iceberg analogy, that really made me think. Because louder the behavior, the deeper is the unspoken need with the child. And we completely ignore that unspoken need with the child, right? So, good evening, everyone. Now, let's see what you say next decides everything. Not because the situation changes, but because our response change and how our child experiences that moment is where most parenting goes wrong. Not in intention, but in timing and language. Now, we love our children beyond measures. We want to be their safe space, their strength, and their home. But in the moments that matter the most, what we say next can either comfort them or create a silence that stays with them, at times for a very long period. And the truth is, it's not these big moments that shape the relationship. It's those tiny, small, everyday interactions that what we say next makes all the difference. Can we have the next slide, please? So let's call them honestly, because we all have been through them, not as perfect parents, but as real ones. Moments where we reacted a little faster than we wanted to, spoke a little harsher than we intended to, and later we wished, can I rewind those moments and not say such things? So I want to understand from you all, how many of you have had that moment in life? Although I know we have a very well-aware audience here. Yes, Deepali, Megha, lovely. So all of us, right?
All of us. I think all of us.
Exactly.
Nobody can say they never overreacted, they never shut down.
Yes.
If we
And
would have never done
especially,
that, our chair would be next to God, I think.
especially when we are working parents, it's like an impossible thing. Like you said, Vishaka, we need to have a halo on top of us if something like that would have been there.
And that hello resurfaces only after we have said everything. I mean, that thing, that we should not tell such things, only it resurfaces only after we've actually spoken whatever we wanted to speak.
Then we are like Apuni Bhagwan hai.
And that's where these common patterns show up. So overreaction sounds like, don't you dare talk to me like this. And like Deepali mentioned, the decibel has already reached its pinnacle. Complete shutdown with absolutely no space for an explanation. Just go to your home. Just go to your room. And that creeping guilt that we place on our children. This, I think every Indian parent does it. After everything that I've done for you, this is how you're behaving. And the last thing, after everything has happened, we just completely ignore the situation. Like nothing has ever happened in this room. Now, let me share a very simple situation. Like we said, working parents have their own dilemmas. So a parent walks into the room and sees the 10-year child has spilled juice all over the sofa. Now, it has been a long day for the parents. They are really exhausted. What would be the immediate reaction? Any guesses from the audience?
Scolding the child.
Yelling and shouting.
Yes.
Right? Yes, Deepali, how would you react now?
Yesterday also the juice was spilled on the sofa and the entire sofa was full of ants.
Right.
I used to say this when my daughter was very small.
Right. So, generally what we react is, what is wrong with you? Can't you even do one thing properly? I think I have reacted so many times on this similar lines. So what happens here is, the child freezes, not because of the spill, but because of the tone. And that moment ends the conversation. But the emotion stays with the child. The child walks away thinking, I made a mistake. So something must be wrong with me. And here's what we often forget. Children don't misbehave to challenge us. They behave to express what they have not yet understood. So behind every outburst, there's a feeling that's waiting to be heard. Now, let's get to another scenario. A teenager comes home and says, I hate this house. As a parent, we instantly react. Then maybe you should not live here. Now, that moment shuts the door, not just on the conversation, but also on the child's willingness to come back and share again. Now, I want you all to take a moment and reflect on this. Can we go to the next slide, Insia? So, behavior is not just one piece of the puzzle. The real story lies beneath the surface, just like the iceberg Deepali mentioned. So, what can we do differently? Let's rewind and look at the same situation and see how a small shift can completely change this impact. Let's go back to the first example, the juice spill. I am curious, how would you react in that moment with a small shift? Any guesses? Yes, Radhika?
I'll actually tell you how I reacted to my first child and my second child. So
that's a complete different story, right?
So
that's an altogether different topic.
Exactly.
So my first child, yes, I was this parent who would be like, "What's wrong with you?" Because you come back from a very tiring work day, and the situation is this. You don't want to yell at them, but it just comes out. It's like just what we are talking. The child doesn't mean but says. So it's vice versa here. It's like the parent doesn't mean but says. So, that was with the first child. The second child, it was like, okay, you dropped it, clean it. That's it. That's it.
Clear
No
instructions.
drama, no.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Right. So maybe what you can do is you can take a pause and just say, hey, baby, looks like there is an accident happened, right? Come, let's clean it together. So here, what is happening is the child doesn't feel attacked. They feel supported. And something important also happens. They learn responsibility without shame. And yes, to be very frank, the shift may not happen in a day. It takes awareness, lots of patience, and consistent efforts from us parents. But every time, yes, Gayatri?
No, you can finish, then I'll speak. That's okay. You finish with that.
Yeah. But every time we choose to respond instead of reacting, we take one step closer to build that trust that lasts forever. Now, let's look at the second situation. 1 minute, I think someone is there. Okay. Yeah. So the teenager says, I hate this house. So what would be your response? Deepali, I'm sure you have something up your sleeve to respond. Yes, Vishaka?
Yeah, please, Vishaka would respond. Yeah.
Yes, Vishaka. You are on mute.
Yeah, I was not able to unmute myself, which is why. Yeah, I just said, I was just wondering. See, every time, honestly speaking, responding is not possible because we do not know what temperament we are in. We are all working people. What has happened in office? What are the stress levels with which we come home? So Dipali seeing her daughter spill juice all over the sofa when she has some deadlines to be met and the presentation has to be sent yesterday night itself may put her under great pressure. She might react rather than respond.
Right.
But then, see, again, I talk a lot about parenting because I believe deeply in good parenting, right? So my parenting to my child from the childhood has to be such that it's okay. There'll be times when I may react, but then I'm sorry for reacting like that.
Yes.
I have to take a step forward and say, okay, I'm sorry, beta, I spoke to you like that. This was the situation. Can you tell me why this happened? We have to reopen the conversation.
Absolutely. Very true.
I agree with what Vishaka said. That was something that I was also going to come. That reacting. There are very times when you end up reacting, and there's something. But again, that is something that I also have followed and seen a very change. Again, as you very rightly said, Divya, it takes time for it to come. That hey, you know what? I think I could have handled better, and something not just that doesn't just give them the sense of being heard, but they also get a sense of the learning of being okay with making mistakes and about it being okay with accepting your mistakes. Because these days I have seen saying sorry becomes an insult for the children. If you tell them to say sorry, it's a big thing, but if you imitate it and show them that you are also okay with saying sorry if you are wrong. So what Vishaka said, that hey, you know what, I could have handled it better. I also know one thing is like, do you think you were wrong at that point in time? I also give them the, if they say no, I was okay because I was in that mood, I don't get react to it or tell them to teach that hey, no, that is what it is. Also, I feel one of the major things is like, even if you're reacting or responding, it is very important to inculcate into children that hey, it's the action or the reaction that you've given is what is a problem and not you.
Not you. Absolutely. I think that's something very important.
So there is a sentence that I usually use even with the children of this thing is like, I don't like this behavior. You are an amazing child, but this behavior or this action is what I have an issue with.
Yes.
So can we visit that particular thing? Because, I don't like it or I don't like you is the action and not you as a person. And that I think makes a big difference between children, and they also gradually I think come to a point of responding rather than reacting.
Right.
And one more thing which I would want to add to this is that I also conveyed it to my daughter that see, I am a human being and there are going to be times, as Vishaka said, that I may not respond, I may react. So it does happen in the heat of the moment. So generally, when I shout, I tell her that this is something you're not going to be learning from me. I have some better things which you can imbibe, not this one. So I think it's a very good idea to actually make the children very clear that you are a human being and you also make mistakes.
Right.
Like children can make mistakes, parents can also make mistakes. So I think that's a good lesson to give to a child.
Absolutely.
Rather than shielding our mistakes and shielding their mistakes, I think it's a good lesson.
Correct. Because once you tell the child that, okay, you understand that this is not about the house, right? Maybe the child had a bad day at the school, or maybe in the crowd they felt left out, or maybe something hurt because they had some fight with the friends or something. And yes, Smita.
Adding to that, the situation which was kept in front of. It happens with most of the parents that the way that they need to react. I felt whenever these kind of things happen, it's very important for the parents even to take the pause. Right? Just coming back from the meeting and just scolding them. Instead of that, having a rest, having a glass of water, and then starting to speak with them makes the sense, and at the same time giving them the realization, yes, whatever has happened, it's wrong. Right? Till the time we'll not tell them it's not a right way to act or keep the house or keep the things tidy or untidy or handling the things, they will not be able to reciprocate in the coming situations. So till the time we will not tell them, they will not be able to do it in the next. See, they are going to learn from their own mistakes. It's their experience that they are going to have. But at the same time, we need to be mediator at the moment. Yes, whatever you have done, it can be done in this manner.
Right.
You can next time whenever the situation comes, try for this same thing in this manner. So if we tell them the same thing and realization at the same moment, whatever is happening, it's wrong. So that will definitely make the change, and that have shown me the difference. Because if I look at my kids, both the kids, there is a gap between both of them. So I could see the difference in both of their behavior. And elder ones look at the younger one looks at her, and then they learn together. So that are the takeaways that they take through this. I feel whatever the mistakes they have done, there should be moral of learning from that situations.
Right, absolutely. I think this is something will come later when we talk about. And so in that moment, what they needed was not discipline. That's the first thing we need to understand as a parent, right? They needed understanding from us as a parent. Now, all these responses, what we talked about, are very simple ones, but they do something very powerful. They keep the conversations alive. Like I said, they open the door. And let's try to make a little practical, like Smita said, taking a pause and how do we react to the situations. So I want you all to respond. So instead of saying, how can you say this to me? What would you say which would be a better response to the situation? Any takers for this?
I think we can say that
Giving them an opportunity to speak what happened, listening from their side what happened.
Absolutely correct. Yes, Deepanshi.
yes, I think we can say that I don't like your behavior or this action. You
Right.
can rework on this, or you can say it in other way. Also, we can help them out how they
Right.
can.
Right, absolutely. So we can maybe say that sounded really strong to me. Tell me what's going on. Right.
So Namrata says, Divya, that can you try to rephrase your question, statement or something? It just went
Yeah.
away.
So what I wanted
Namrata
is,
sent it in the
yeah.
chat.
So instead of
Sent.
saying, how can you say this to me? How would you respond? So like Deepanshi said and Smita said, what we can do is, you can say that sounded really strong. Tell me what's going on. Namrata, would you like to try? What's bothering you? Perfect, Sujata.
And Namrata is saying, can you try to rephrase your sentence? That's also a good way of saying.
Okay, right.
So one of the thing is also could be like, I feel really hurt by what you said. Can we discuss what is really happening? Because like, doing it together, that feeling, okay, let's discuss what, or we work together.
Correct. Absolutely. I think that feeling of bond and connect is something which is very important in conversations and which at times we forget.
So basically, we need to go deeper than the tip of
The
iceberg.
Right. Absolutely.
So Smita says, will you give me an opportunity to, I just went, will you give me an
Understand.
opportunity to understand what you feel or want? Good
Right.
way. Yes.
So the second one is, instead of saying you are being too rude, how would you respond differently in an empathetic manner?
Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do anything. Don't say anything. Just go and hug your child.
Right. Absolutely.
You needn't use a single word. Just give them a hug. I think that is what they require at that point of time the most.
Right. So Sujata says, let's sit and talk.
Perfect.
They're not wanting to. I don't think at that given point of time, when they're already so irritated, they won't want to sit and talk. They may walk off.
Right.
Just be quiet. That's the moment when your moment of calm is required. Don't
Right.
react. Don't even respond. Just give them a hug. And after a few seconds, they check, what's the matter? And I think it sorts.
So basically, let them be, basically.
Yes.
Right.
Or, yeah.
You
so
have to
like,
give them their space for that moment.
what's bothering you? Sit next to me, Namrata says. Yes. So these are simple ways of connecting, right? So instead of reacting immediately, like Vishaka said, like Namrata said, or maybe I would love to hear your thoughts, right? Something, yeah. So see, Smita says, give them time to settle and say, I love you. That's wonderful. So now let's see, the difference between distance and trust is just in one sentence. And every tough moment with the child is actually an opportunity in disguise. And exactly in those moments, remember the simple 4-step shift: pause, name, boundary, and reconnect. Let's understand each one of it. So pause, like I think someone mentioned that instead of reacting instantly, just take a back seat and pause. So what happens is you let settle the air. That one pause is everything where things began to change. Just 1 second, one deep breath, and you can stop it from reaction getting turned into a regret later. Now, as the saying says, pause has much more power than a push. And I firmly believe in it. Now, the second step is name. What do you think we are naming here? Any guesses? Deepali?
Emotion.
Yes. The feeling or what we are noticing in the moment. I can see that you're upset. But that sounded really strong. Because when we name it, we help the children feel seen. Because when a child feels seen, they start to calm down. And the third step, like Smita mentioned, boundary. And this is very important because empathy does not mean we remove the limits. How we set a boundary without sounding harsh. I want to hear you, but not like this. Clear, calm, without anger, and without shame. And the final step, reconnect. What does this step do? It helps you to bring back the relationship. So I am here when you're ready. Let's figure this out together. That will help you reconnect. Because in the end, it's not about winning the moment. It's just about keeping the connection. And the truth is, we all are imperfect parents, right? And that's perfectly okay. Like someone mentioned, we are harsh on our own self because our children don't need us to be perfect. They just need us. So now I want you all to try this micro framework. We'll go through it quickly. So a child is saying, I am not doing this homework. So instead of reacting, the first thing is obviously we pause. How do we name it? Any guesses?
It could be just tired, possibly right now to do, or fatigue mentally or physically at that point in time.
Right, absolutely. And how do you set the boundary?
Okay, if you don't want to do it now, when do you want to do it? Tonight, or do we get up early in the morning and finish it?
Right. So first we can see when is the homework need to be submitted, right? So if it's 2 days later, then maybe yes, the child, as you said, is tired, then you can take it up later. And finally is reconnect. So come, let's figure out together what can be done.
Yeah.
So what happens here is there is a shift that happens for the child, but the situation doesn't change. And over the time, these movements become the foundation of trust. Same situation, different responses. Now, I want you all to picture this moment with your child. I am not doing this. How would you apply these 4-step shift and go about it? Can anyone from the audience, Namrata or Asha?
It just happened 5 minutes back with me.
So it's really
I was attending here and I told that, I need a glass of water. I am not going to do it for you.
That's the most difficult job, I believe, for a 11-year-old kid to do.
Yeah. So then I said, okay, but I just need a glass of water. But I want to sit with you. That was the response. I said, okay. But I am really thirsty. So I set the boundary that, hey, I am thirsty. Okay, then I'll give you after 5 minutes.
And that 5 minutes never comes.
No, but then after 5 minutes, she was doing something here. And I said, hey, it's a little more time and I'm really thirsty. And then she got me the water.
So Gayatri, both of you all are good negotiators, right?
I mean, setting boundary is important, right? I mean, she made the child understand that that needs to be done, even if it's after 5 minutes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. So one more thing is, which is heard most often at homes is, leave me alone. How do you tackle this? Especially where you have a teenager at home, right? I think this is heard a lot often. Deepali agrees.
I would respond to this, but I think it comes from both sides. Even the parents end up saying this.
Right.
Depends
Very
on the
true.
age of the child as to who
And
would
the,
be like.
and the dilemma is when the parent wants to be left alone, the child doesn't want to leave the parent, and when the child wants to stay alone, the parent
Yes.
don't want to leave them. So this is the dilemma all the times.
Right. Absolutely. So maybe, I give you space, but we need to talk about this. Or maybe this is not the way you talk to me, right? So this is how we teach the child to be empathetic through these model. Now, what I want you is your tone teaches more than your words. Because if you sound like an enemy, they respond like one. So speak in a way that your child will come back to you and talk to you. So as we move ahead, I hand it over to Dipali with a thought to carry. May your hugs be longer than your lectures. Over to you, Dipali.
I love this thought. May your hugs be longer than your lectures. I love it simply. Right. So, Divya, this is wonderfully put. And Radhika, we have certain questions for you.
Okay, fine. Scary, but
Okay.
fine, yes. Yeah.
So, Radhika, what basically happens is that we do learn certain techniques, we want to apply, we want to improve our parenting style, and things just start repeating. Same hurtful language, it goes on repeating. So there is a time when as a parent we lose our temper. So how do we handle such kind of a situation?
More than anything, it's like, say, for example, when a child comes to you and says, I hate you. Okay.
Right.
It all depends on the age of the child. You cannot say that, see, parenting or what you call the way you answer or how you should answer depends upon the age of the child. So I'll give you a very, very simple, what do you call, how do I put it? A very simple solution to it. Say, for example, a child is coming, you're tired, you've come back from work, and then, he or she wants you to do something, you don't do it, whatever the situation is. And then the child is irritated, and, he just says, he or she says, I hate you. Now, if this is coming from a 2 to 4 year old or at that age group, basically the child doesn't even know what hate is. He's just using that word. Okay. So that is one thing which we really, really need to understand. We need to understand the emotion behind it, not the words.
Perfect.
Never should we take
Perfect.
that seriously. But then, if you're a teenager, you're having a kind of an argument with your teenager, whatever, and the teenager says, I hate you, then what do you call me, the way I react usually, and I prefer that everybody, I just say, yeah, that was pretty intense. Something must be going on. So just get back to me once it is done. So not losing temper over there is very, very important as a parent. See, it is very, very easy for us to lose our temper like this.
Right.
This. Because especially, I'm being very open and frank over here, especially being women, mostly. I'm sorry to say, if there are men listening to it at a later on stage, but for women, you're handling a lot. You're handling it, the outside world, you're handling your home, you're handling your children. So it really becomes overwhelming after a point. Yes, you reply by saying, I love you. Perfect.
That's nice.
So it becomes very, very overwhelming. So it's just okay. You just have to just get back to the conversation without losing your temper. If you're really, for me, it is like if my teenager or somebody comes and says, "Mama, this is the thing. This is what is happening," and if I have a BP meter, it is at 10 with the question that they are asking. But then I am like, I just give them a small smirk, and I just say, I just tell them that, yeah, we'll get back to this later. That's it. you know that's it. So don't go with the words pause before you lose your temper as a parent. Just
So I
pause.
think perfect. So I think not losing the temper is the golden rule.
Yes.
Right.
Even if you lose your temper, somebody said over here, it is okay to lose your temper, but it shouldn't, the decibel level shouldn't be high and irritating.
Right.
You can lose your temper, but you can lose your temper without raising your voice.
We can be firm rather than shouting.
Yes. And
Right.
it's okay to lose your temper. That's what the parent also needs to understand. It's okay.
Perfect.
You just need to explain that to the child. And yes, the parent also should not have any qualms about apologizing to the child on losing their temper, his or her temper.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Radhika.
Yeah. So the next question is, are we overthinking this? Shouldn't we be just a little more stricter?
This is this actually for the audience over here. This particular question has been raised in many parenting forums. See, all of us, most of us, I don't know. We are trainers, we are teachers, we have had education. I mean, an education background at some point in our lives. So we somehow are trained to respond. But when you're looking at a layman, at a parent who is just a parent, an office going parent, they do not react like us, they do not respond like us. So, strictness, yes, it controls behavior temporarily, but it doesn't build emotional skills. That's a very clear cut thing over there. And yes, Vishaka, I would really like your input on this.
See, thank you so much for asking me to be talking about this. But I feel, yes, to a certain level, we are overrating it a lot. In your childhood, we all remember living in joint families, or else नानी के घर साथ में रहते थे, मासी के भी बच्चे हैं, मामा के भी बच्चे हैं, फाइटिंग भी होता था, पैचअप भी होता था, मामी ने भी एक थप्पड़ मार दिया, मासी ने भी एक थप्पड़ मार दिया, was all acceptable. Yeah. So there are certain things we are surely overrating and overthinking about. It is the environment that we create for our children. It is again, I talk about parenting, I talk about upbringing. It is the way what you have taught them is what stays with them. If you've taught them, okay, you have to be touchy about everything, they'll be touchy about everything. If you have taught them that yes, it's okay, and people will, the world out there is not bed of roses, there'll be thorns, and you have to be ready for the prick and start from home, because your mom and dad are also not there. They are like God, but they're not God. And because they're human, there may be moments of prick for you as well as for me. So I've taken your prick today. That does not mean I will return that prick to you, but I might prick you someday, and you needn't feel hurt about it.
Perfect. Perfect.
You have it. See, it's like, years of experience parenting talking over here.
Absolutely. That's
Exactly.
what.
Exactly.
Yes.
And Vishakha, may I ask one question, please? So generally we talk about the home influence and the influence of the peers. Which according to you weighs more?
Home.
Home. Okay.
Surely
So
home.
the parent of my age, when we are thinking about our children, we are always concerned about the peer pressure. but you feel that what we are giving them at home would carry a greater weight as compared to the external pressure?
See, I'll give you a very, very simple example. We
Yeah.
have seen in the society young college going children addicted to smoking, addicted to drinking. But yes, there are families where children don't drink, don't smoke. They live in that circle, they walk in that circle, they move in that community, but still they're forced to be drinking or smoking, but they don't. So what is withholding them?
Because of the
parents are
family's environment.
the
Okay.
values that have been instilled. It's not good to be doing that. Maybe they've been shown the medical side, or they have been given that upbringing कि नहीं बेटा ये ठीक चीज नहीं है,
Wow,
नहीं
that's
करोगे
nice.
तो ऐसा है. ठीक है, तो पेयर प्रेशर तो बहुत रहता है. आप और हम भी कॉलेज गए हैं, हमारे बच्चे भी कॉलेज जाएंगे या जा रहे हैं या गए थे. उनको सब कुछ एनवायरनमेंट होता है. हम लोग वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल्स हैं. डोंट वी हैव आवर मेल कोलीग्स एंड आल्सो फीमेल कोलीग्स ड्रिंकिंग एंड स्मोकिंग? But do all of us drink and smoke? No, we don't. Why? Because that's the value system that has been instilled in us. I am sure there'll be one or two of you जो कि शायद वेजिटेरियंस होंगे, एगिटेरियंस और नॉन वेजिटेरियंस नहीं होंगे. आपके फ्रेंड्स टिफिन में लेकर आते होंगे और उन्होंने ऑफर भी किया होगा आपको. आपके घर में नहीं होता, हम लेकर आएंगे, ट्राई करिए. क्यों नहीं किया?
So after
Because
a point, it's
brought up
only
was that.
moral. No, after a point, it is just moral policing that we can give to a child.
You cannot moral police your child. You can show them the sense. You can't police them. The moment you start policing them, you're creating barriers. You're creating problems.
Moral policing in the sense, you have to teach them what is ethical, what is not, talk to them what is ethical and what is not, and then you have to trust them to take the right decision at the right time.
Absolutely. अभी आपका बच्चा is in 10th, 11th, 12th. You know, in a few years, जो भी stream लेगा, suppose engineering, medical, whatever, I'm talking about the most generic ones, college जाएगा. You won't, as parents, go along with them. So now you start discussing with them what is drug addiction, what is smoking. You start showing and seeing the videos with them, what happens as a result of taking these. And your task is done. You cannot and you will never be able to go with your children like your parents never went with you to colleges.
Absolutely.
So the foundation has to be strong. The cement has to be real and not mixed. The stone and the mortar has to have a very strong bond. And it works beautifully.
So Divya and Dipali, I'm just going with the flow over here a little bit.
Yeah.
We are pressed. I mean, it's already 9:03.
We've almost run out.
So I would like to, close this at the earliest because we can't keep them up also on a Wednesday till more. I mean, it's already 9. So here I would like to, just open the floor wherein, say for example, let me start with Namrata. The one question, all of you, that you would like to discuss on this forum where you have a question mark. See, where you feel that, you have a question that you need answered to. Namrata, can you help us out?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, right now, I am facing challenges with my 8-year-old child. I mean, she's very high on energy. And yeah, the language at the moment is, I'm sure we've discussed a lot of things here. But I mean, there are times where you just, you tolerate, you have patience, but then it just goes off. So how to really bring them the language, the actions. I think the energy is so high, and I think the thought process that they are thinking and what we are wanting them to do is just not matching most of the time. So you want them to do something, and they want to do something their way. They have their own thoughts. So I think those clashes are always there because of that.
So it's always negotiation, Namrata. It's like
Yeah, so I feel it's always continuous negotiation and so much of energy. I think it's very energy draining. you know.
No. Just set some rules. It's like, saying that, whenever a situation comes up where we don't agree with each other, it is like it's non-negotiable. Once it'll, I mean, if it's all right to a certain level, I will listen to whatever you are saying, but you will also have to listen to what I am saying.
Yeah, I mean, I do that all the time. I say that I listen to you all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so you also need to listen to me. And then I give examples. Said you did this. I list. Did I listen to you? I ask because she said yes. So I say yes or no. Yes. I said again. I did. I list down. Then yes or no. So yes. And then I'm like, see, Mama has listened like 5 things. And what about yourself? Now it's also your turn to listen to me. So I'm like, it's like a lot of to really arrive to one thing. It's a lot of energy, like for example, right now she's gone down to play, and the kids in my society play till 10 10:30, and they have schools going on right now. So to really get her out, though we have to say no, we have to sleep, because in morning is really a big task, really reaching the every day we are running, like every morning is a task, so I'll still go down. I'll be like, now 5 minutes, then I'll put the timer, and I have to like pull her out, but other kids are just playing. I don't know how they wake up in the morning, but they are playing till 10:30. So it's like you want to set the boundaries, but the environment around isn't doing so. So it's
No, you can do one thing over here, Namrata. Let the child take the onus. I mean, it's a girl or a boy, may I? It's a girl.
Girl, yeah. Like I've given her a watch. I said, now you can read this time. So it's 20-25 minutes or 30 minutes. So what time are you going to come back home? So she says 9:15. So I said, no later than for 9:15, you need to start checking your watch, or if you don't have the watch, then you need to start asking people around, like, what's the time? There are adults, so they have a phone, so they can let you know. But it's just nothing is working.
No. You just have to, basically see. You are telling her to do a certain task, but at the same time, you are after her also continuously, and, step by step, you are asking her whether she's doing that task or not. Correct? So my suggestion over here would be very simple. Say, for example, this going down thing is tomorrow you have to come back at 8:15. Don't call her. Let her stay.
Yeah,
One
I,
day
I, I left her.
she is
Yeah,
back, it is okay. But then after she comes up, you have to tell her clearly that today I have let go. But tomorrow, if you are late again, 15 minutes from your play time, you will not be going. You have to slowly let them take the responsibility and let go at times.
yeah. So I do that. Like I gave her 2 chances, 3 chances, and then I've told her, okay, sorry, now you've lost your playtime for tomorrow. So probably then it goes. So you've given 1 chance, 2 chance, 3 chance, and then you say that tomorrow's playtime you've lost it. And yeah, once we say that, then we need to be firm, because if we give in, then again it's like, okay, ये
Absolutely.
तो yes,
Yes.
चलता है ऐसा.
We just need to be a little, we need to be firm. That's it. Because from their point of view also, they are right. Everybody is playing down, and it's like, why am I the only person not doing it? So that is one thing that is like, a little bit firmer when they don't listen to you. The first part is trying to make them understand.
Yeah, and another thing I think I'm really facing challenges is language, where I mean, talking to elders, like her elder sibling. I don't know, she's very rude. Grandparents, she's very rude, and so, I mean, we at home also, we try to see that we are always cordial with each other most of the time. Maybe in the heat, sometimes idhar udhar ho jata hoga, but we're not rude. That politeness and respect is not missing when we are talking. We could be loud maybe sometimes, but it's so extreme. But then I feel it could be a passing phase. She will come around, and that's what I.
No, you just have to keep on questioning her. You have to keep on talking with her. You were rude just now, not in front of everybody, obviously.
Yeah.
But you just have to keep on questioning her, saying that, you were rude just now. Why? Ask her why. Always ask the question why.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Once she will answer, twice she will answer, but third time she will not know what to answer. Trust me when I'm saying this.
Yeah.
Because parenting to today's generation is going to take a toll on all you people. Because you all are working, you are extremely busy with your lifestyles, and so when it comes, just be a little bit, try to understand why she is doing what she's doing, because from my point of view, I'm actually noticing that she's being a rebel, from a
She
very
is
being a rebel. She knows what
rebel. Yeah.
is irritating
Yes.
you, and she is
Yeah.
irritating you on those points.
Yeah. She has, caught the pulse actually.
Yes.
Understood.
So that is something where you should not let her take control on your emotions, but the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's what you have to really pause and then change, reframe your sentence. We all have to make that effort. I think it's like everyone in the house have to make that effort.
No, she will not listen to everybody. Let me tell you over here, Namrata. Like, if everybody questions her why,
Yeah.
she's just not going to listen to anybody. The only person who can question her why will be either you or what do you call your spouse. No one else.
Yeah. Hmm.
What anybody would like to add anything to this? Yeah. Okay. Yes. So, any other queries, please? Sheila, Megha, Asha, Rahila,
I have
hi.
one question.
Yeah.
So, how to bridge the gap between friendship and respect?
Friendship and respect towards the parents.
Yes,
It's a
between
very
the parents and the kid,
it's a very
child.
thin line, huh? Being a friend and a parent is a very, very thin line. But at the same time, you always need to tell them that make them understand that you are the parent. Because at the end of the day, yes, we are friends, we can be very good friends with our children, but at the end of the day, we need to tell them right from wrong. And when you tell them right from wrong, they will not like it, but always in a very amicable way. Start it start it in an amicable way, always, with deep core sentences like yes, absolutely. And then it's like, there's this papa yar, which I listen a lot these days. Papa yar.
My kid uses "Are yaar."
I do not know. I have suddenly started feeling as if maybe I hope I'm not a prehistoric parent. But then,
And when I use it, she gets offended.
yeah.
I
So
said even
then,
I can use it, right?
I again, beg to differ a little bit here. Why do we have to assert ourselves as parents? हम बताएंगे पेरेंट है तभी पेरेंट बनेंगे? नहीं. क्यों पेरेंट बनना है? पेरेंट है भैया हम ऑलरेडी. तो बनना क्यों है? बन के क्यों दिखाना है? Why can't you treat even your 5-year-old as equal? अरे उसको राइट दो ना, सजेस्ट करने का, बताने का. आपको बोलना है कि नाइफ गलत चीज़ है, उससे हाथ कट सकता है, तो पोटैटो काट के दिखाओ कि आपकी फिंगर से हार्ड है, देखो ऐसे कट जाता है. ट्राई करना है. डिसीजन क्यों नहीं बच्चे को लेने दे रहे हो आप? Why do you have to decide everything for the child? When there was Namrata who was saying बच्चा नीचे खेल रहा है, ऊपर नहीं आ रहा है, and Radhika had a very good suggestion, खेलने दो. But I agree to that. But then why can't you sit and say, okay, let's make your schedule. You tell me how you want to study. You tell me how much you want to play. You tell me when you want to study for the test. In how
So
much time would
I'd
you be
just
able
like
to
to
study for the
say,
test? Yes,
I think
Namrata.
definitely I'm doing all of this, that okay, I ask her, okay, what if you don't
Parenting
come
is
up?
not a single day thing.
Yeah, like suppose what do we do that okay if you don't come up on time because of day on day and you are missing your bus in the morning. So what should we do? So she said, okay, in the morning I give her a glass of warm water every morning. She said, okay, you splash all the water on me and wake me up in the morning with that. So I started asking her, okay, you know that this is, and we have to be on time. We have to reach. So almost every class, it's a challenge to get her to get ready for a class and, be on time for a class. So, yeah, I mean, again, now, as you're saying, now, like, have an equal conversation. So, I do that in most of the situations. But yeah, it's not like, कि वो 2 time में होने वाला है. It could just,
That
I
is what
don't
I'm
know,
saying.
take
Parenting
6
is not a
months.
one-day thing.
6 months
आज
to
बैठे
1 year
आज सारा
also.
रील बना दिया काम खत्म है lifelong
Yeah.
set है.
Yeah.
Every day. See, rules are meant or are made to be broken and remade. And that is what parenting is. You have to make fresh rules every day, but involve your children in making of those rules. The moment you give them the understanding, even from the base childhood, 2 साल का बच्चा भी समझ रखता है.
Namrata,
आपको
you
वहीं
can
से
start
understanding
by
देनी है.
giving non-negotiable rules. Non-negotiable rules, not being strict, by making them understand. You have to be firm there. Because yes, absolutely what Vishaka is saying, this is like a lifelong thing that is going to go on. The parenting, even when they have children and grandchildren also, the parenting doesn't stop. But
Radhika, इसका मैं एक example देना चाहती हूँ. Suppose if Namrata wants her children to go to bed at 10, he has to mimic the same thing that all of us will go to bed at 10. भले बच्चों के सोने के बाद she gets up and 11 से 12 वो अपना ऑफिस का काम करके
Yeah,
फिर
I
सोती है.
do that.
But then all
मैं
of us
सारे
have
घर
to do
के
it.
lights
तो
बंद
ऐसा नहीं कि
करके.
नॉन नेगोशिएबल है आपके लिए, मेरे लिए it's okay.
Right, I've understood that. So I switch off the lights in all the rooms and I straight away go to the room. Then I fall asleep, but then I get up again after she slept. So yeah, I think, but वही है. I guess that consistency has to be there every
and it
day.
won't be there. See, in a week, if they are doing it for about 4 days, you should be happy, Namrata. The rest of
And
the
besides that, Namrata, you can try this when she's coming late and next day she has a test and she has to prepare. It's okay अगर एक टेस्ट में कम नंबर आएंगे, but she will realize मैं कम पढ़ी तो हाँ, तो if I have studied less, I've secured less. So see, there are certain things that you learn when you face the repercussions. Yeah. So let her understand कि अगर if I have come up late, other friends were playing, they might not have a test like me. So I have secured less marks, and then you don't have to boss over and say, देखा मैंने बोला था ना जल्दी आओ, नहीं आए टेस्ट में मार्क्स कम आए, तो वो नहीं करना है. ये उसको ये बताना है, देखो बेटा आप लेट आए थे, कम पढ़ पाए तो मार्क्स कम आए हैं, तो नेक्स्ट टेस्ट के लिए अब आप सोचो क्या करना है.
तो ऐसे एग्जाम के टाइम पे हुआ, बट जब
एग्जाम के टाइम पे नहीं ना, इसीलिए
जब रिपोर्ट कार्ड आया तो शी वाज अ लिटिल स्कैर्ड. जब रिपोर्ट कार्ड आया शी सेड, बट सी आई गॉट ऑल A's. आई एम लाइक, या वेरी गुड. I like, you're a smart girl, so you got all A's.
Okay. Do we have any other queries? Because I can see that all of us are getting tired and exhausted. And anybody with any more queries, please? Yes. It was actually wonderful, Vishaka, that you were a part of today's session. Gayatri, loved the way you spoke, loved the way you joined every conversation. Namrata, thank you for sharing your problems. This is like, I just love it that you put it out in the open, whatever you are going through, because that itself solves a lot of problems. It takes a huge weight off our head. Because when so many people are saying what you are doing is right. So see, we always need to take one particular, we have to think of one particular solution. ठीक है, वो काम नहीं कर रहा है तो दूसरा क्या है, तो तीसरा क्या है, चौथा क्या है. So we have to keep on going to the next and next stage. So thank you so much for sharing. And I would love it if you could be a part of our sessions more and more. Once a month we have this, that's it. So it would be wonderful if you could join. We put out our calendar very early on in the beginning of the month itself. And yes, I would really like to know, Gayatri, from you, how did you like the session? Your feedback on the session, please.
It was amazing. The discussions were really insightful. I mean, the openness with which everybody was discussing. I think, as I mentioned you, Radhika, when I messaged you earlier in the day. It's always good to have different perspectives because each one of us sees differently and behaves differently in different situations. And working so closely with the children, I think it is important to understand every perspective. Uh, and coming as a person who works with children so much, sometimes we tend to not bring that knowledge home as a parent.
Yes.
Because then, we are tired of being so, okay, mindful of everything. Because when the way Dipali mentioned that, children burst out because it's a safe space for them, this is a safe space for us. So we tend to let go of those, careful, mindful words and languages or reactions or responses. So it's a beautiful reminder that, hey, and this is something I keep telling all the parents that I counsel or, train with the teachers that I do trainings for teachers is like, hey, remember that you are a parent first. Once you become a parent, you're a parent first and then you are a teacher. It is, I attend such sessions because, that is a reminder for me also that, hey, what you tell, you have to, get back home to.
At least your children are young. Mine are like, whenever, when I was in the education field, I would come back home and they would like, Mama, mother mode, not teacher mode, not principal. Mama, mother mode. So
I think the world is changing because my kids are like, you don't have any meetings, you don't have any trainings, go sit in your room and do it. I am okay. Why are you sitting with us? Go do your work, is what I get it. It's only on the weekends they're like, are we going out somewhere? Do we do something? That is the only time they remember. Otherwise, they're like, you don't have work today. We are busy with ourselves. It's okay. But yeah, this is a beautiful reminder that, hey, you are a parent first. And I think one of the points, again, a reminder that I take away for myself is also that while we work on understanding the emotions of the children, I think as parents, we also need to understand what are the emotions that it brings out in us.
Yes.
Because that is what helps us to respond and not react. Because a lot of times it's the parent guilt or, not being there for them or not being able to do, or again, the societal things that, hey, your children should be able to do this, but your children are doing this at home. That pressure also, is responsible for the reactions that we put out in front of them. So I think along with the peer pressure for the children, it's the societal pressure for us as parents that we need to be mindful of and not let that get to us. So thank you so much for such a lovely discussion.
Thank you so much. Namrata,
And
what
Gayatri, you actually pointed out such an important thing that we actually take our children for granted.
Yeah.
So we feel that we have to be at our best outside the house, and then we can be our normal self inside the house. So sometimes that is a little harsh on the children.
So, Namrata, what would be your takeaway?
Yeah, I think my takeaway is that, as you have said, that, more and more responsive and not reactive. So I'm working on that. And I think that's the key, I feel.
Whenever you are super irritated, Namrata, walk away from there.
Yeah.
Don't let your teeny tiny baby know that you are irritated because she's liking it. She knows which button to press. And
Yeah.
that is the reason why she just knows.
Yeah, true.
Right. Thank you so much.
And I have got this from so many people that when you are not around, she's really good. I mean, I think everyone has told me this, that when only when minute she sees you around, her behavior changes totally.
So maybe she has this feeling that you are after her a little bit. That is the reason why the behavior is stemming from that. Just give it a thought.
Okay. Yeah.
Just be aware. This is for us. I mean, as parents, these sessions are for us to become aware. That's it. Okay. Right. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Vishaka?
Bye bye. Good night.
Yeah. Vishaka, your feedback?
Yeah, it was a great session. I think I'll be able to guide my teachers based on everybody's experience. And as a CBSE resource person and teacher and principal trainer, I think this will go a long way because each experience can be used as um, an experience that I have gone through and as an example for the other trainees to understand. So I think yes, there are a lot of good takeaways, and the young parents, the young mothers who are both working as well as taking care of children can be given those little tips and tricks to become better parents and better at parenting. I think life becomes better sorted for them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Asha, your takeaway, please. Okay. Anybody? Yeah, you're there.
Sorry, I took time to unmute myself. I have so much to learn as a mother of 5 years old. Oh my God. With all those amazing information and tricks and techniques, and oh my God, there's so much to learn. In fact, I am actually trying already so many things that those were discussed in the session, and a lot of things takes time. That's what I have experienced, and the session was outstandingly informative and so insightful and so relative. I could actually find myself in so many situations that I'm supposed to behave like this, and I'm actually behaving opposite. And I'm not guilty. I'm just trying. He's just fine. So, yeah, so it was amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Dipali, Divya, Radhika, and Gayatri as well, Vishaka as well. So informative. And yeah, so thank you so much for the session. It was great. I will be joining up for the next whole conversation for sure because I have so much to learn about my parenting style.
Thank you. Thank you so
So
much.
much.
Anyone else who would like to put in, given their takeaways? Right. Okay. Over to you, trainers and NCR.
Okay, so before I conclude, we have two quick polls. It will take only 10 seconds each. I have already posted the Mentimeter link in the
Okay.
chat. So please
So we have to
click
open
on
our
the link.
chat.
Yes, ma'am.
Insia, have you yeah, yeah. This one.
Can the link be posted on WhatsApp? Not able to click it through the chat chat box.
Okay, let me give it a try.
Sure, ma'am. I post it on WhatsApp. should we move on to the next poll?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so
Thank you
everyone for joining us today, and thank you for choosing awareness over reaction. Thank you to Divya, Dipali, and Radhika ma'am for sharing your insights. And while you are in the chat, I've already posted our Athulit Academy links. That's where our conversation continues. Also, mark your calendars for April 25th. And thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Yes, another interesting conversation on April 25th on how college going students are getting scared looking at LinkedIn. Right. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all your inputs and for being such lovely audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye bye. Good night.
Thank
Bye.
you so
Good
much,
night.
Namrata.
Thank you. Good night.